Welcome back to the channel where we explore some of the most fascinating stories behind rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in plain sight, and today's topic is one that has stirred excitement among collectors and treasure hunters alike, because we're diving deep into the story of the 1984 $quarter coin, a coin that has been rumored to be worth an astonishing $46 million due to its extraordinary combination of minting errors, production anomalies, and the historical circumstances that surrounded its creation, making it one of the most sought-after and mysterious coins in modern American numismatic history. And what makes this story even more captivating is that this particular coin, despite being produced in relatively large quantities during a routine year, has a few exceptional specimens that stand out due to very specific minting mistakes that occurred at the Philadelphia Mint, which at the time was operating under intense pressure to meet the nation's coinage demands, resulting in a variety of unusual flaws that have since become legendary among experts and enthusiasts who understand just how rare these errors are when combined in a single coin. To fully grasp why a 1984 quarter could reach such a staggering value, it's essential to understand the context of coin production during that era, as the early 1980s marked a period of economic shifts, high production numbers, and changes in quality control methods, all of which played a role in allowing certain mistakes to slip through undetected. And in the case of the 1984 quarter, several known error types emerged that, when found in pristine or near-perfect condition, can drastically increase the coin's desirability and monetary worth. Among the most famous errors associated with this coin are double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, planchet errors, and die cracks, as well as more elusive varieties like struck-through grease errors or transitional mistakes that occurred when older dies were reused or misaligned. Imagine finding a quarter in your pocket change where George Washington's profile appears to be doubled, especially on the inscriptions like "I in God We Trust" or "Liberty," creating a ghost-like shadow effect that is visible to the naked eye but even more stunning under magnification. Such a double die obverse error is one of the most collectible varieties in numismatics, and if it appears on a 1984 quarter in uncirculated condition, its value can skyrocket dramatically. Similarly, coins with dramatic off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing or misaligned due to the planchet not being seated correctly in the coining press, are incredibly popular, particularly if the date and mint mark remain fully visible, since these errors provide both a striking visual anomaly and a tangible glimpse into the minting process gone awry. Some 1984 quarters are known to have broad strike errors, where the coin was struck without the retaining collar in place, causing the metal to expand outward and resulting in a larger, flat-edged coin that looks almost like it melted during minting, which adds another layer of rarity that collectors adore. Planchet errors are another key factor. These occur when the blank metal disc used to strike the coin is flawed in some way, such as being clipped, having incomplete plating, or even being the wrong composition entirely. And while most 1984 quarters were struck on the standard copper-nickel-clad planchets, there are rumors and occasional documented cases of transitional or wrong planchet strikes where a quarter design was accidentally struck on a smaller or foreign planchet, creating ultra-rare pieces that can fetch astronomical sums at auction. Additionally, struck-through errors, where debris, grease, cloth, or even small tools accidentally come between the die and the planchet during striking, can result in unique and one-of-a-kind patterns on the coin's surface, effectively making each example a singular piece of minting history. Perhaps one of the most compelling reasons why a single 1984 quarter could be valued at $46 million lies in the rare combination of multiple errors appearing simultaneously on one coin. For instance, imagine a coin with a double die obverse, a dramatic off-center strike, and a broad strike edge, all preserved in high mint state condition without post-mint damage. This would not only be exceptionally rare but potentially unique, driving collectors and wealthy investors into fierce competition to own such a numismatic marvel. High-grade condition plays a huge role too, because while error coins are rare, finding one that has survived for decades without significant wear, scratches, or cleaning is even rarer, and professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and assign a numeric grade that significantly influences its market value, with coins graded MS67 or MS68 commanding staggering sums. The Philadelphia Mint in 1984 produced hundreds of millions of quarters, but quality control at the time wasn't as technologically advanced as it is today, which meant that subtle and sometimes even major errors could escape detection, especially during periods of high production volume, and this environment created the perfect conditions for rare anomalies to emerge. Some researchers believe that specific die pairs used in 1984 were improperly prepared, leading to distinct double-die varieties that were only recently identified thanks to advanced magnification techniques and digital imaging, meaning that some error types may have circulated unnoticed for years, sitting in drawers, jars, or coin rolls, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to uncover their hidden value. Furthermore, the 1984 P quarter sits at a fascinating intersection of numismatic history, as it came just a few years after the dramatic changes of the late 1970s and early 1980s, when the mint was adapting to new technologies, dealing with changing economic pressures, and responding to the evolving collector market, all of which contributed to occasional lapses in precision that today create thrilling opportunities for discovery. Another critical factor that adds to the coin's mystique and potential value is the role of provenance and public auctions. If a particular specimen is discovered with an unprecedented error combination and authenticated by a leading grading service, its first appearance at auction can generate a media frenzy, as wealthy private collectors, museums, and investment groups bid aggressively to secure ownership of a truly unique piece of minting history. There have been precedents where previously unknown error coins have fetched millions, not only because of their physical characteristics but because of the stories and historical significance attached to them, and the 1984 P quarter fits this mold perfectly. A coin like this might also attract speculative interest due to its rumored rarity, leading some collectors to search relentlessly through pocket change, coin rolls, and bulk bags from banks, hoping to stumble upon a life-changing discovery. Over the decades, as knowledge spreads through collector communities and digital platforms, new varieties and errors continue to be identified, and experts frequently reassess previously overlooked coins to determine whether they represent rare error types that were not well documented in the past. This means that even today, 40 years after its minting, the 1984 P quarter remains a fertile hunting ground for numismatists, with the possibility that a yet undiscovered error specimen could emerge and redefine its market value entirely. The legendary $46 million valuation isn't just plucked from thin air, it reflects a combination of rarity, condition, error type, collector demand, and historical intrigue that, when aligned perfectly, can create a perfect storm of numismatic value. Consider how some coins with seemingly minor errors have sold for thousands, while others with dramatic, visually striking mistakes and impeccable provenance have fetched millions, often surpassing expectations simply because they captured the imagination of the collector community. It's also important to remember that coin values are heavily influenced by supply and demand, and in the case of an ultra-rare 1984 P quarter with multiple minting errors, the supply could be literally one or two known examples in existence, making them virtually priceless to the right buyer. Numismatic experts often stress that such valuations are not solely based on intrinsic metal content, since these quarters are made of copper and nickel rather than precious metals, but rather on the uniqueness, condition, and historical context of the error itself. It's a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are not made of gold or silver but of everyday metals transformed by rare circumstances into something extraordinary. Collectors who have dedicated their lives to studying minting errors know that the thrill of discovery is as valuable as the coins themselves, and the 1984 P quarter represents one of those thrilling possibilities that keep the community alive with excitement, speculation, and hope. For anyone watching this and wondering if they might have such a coin in their possession, the best approach is to examine your quarters carefully, especially the obverse side for any doubling on the lettering or portrait, look for off-center strikes, check the edges for broad strikes, and pay attention to any unusual textures that might indicate struck-through errors. If something looks unusual, it's worth having it evaluated by a reputable coin grading service or error specialist, as what appears to be a minor flaw could turn out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Next. Today's story revolves around a remarkable piece of American numismatic history that has fascinated collectors, experts, and enthusiasts for decades, the 1978 D quarter dollar coin, a coin that for most people represents just 25 cents in face value but in the world of coin collecting can be worth as much as $12 million because of its extraordinary errors, production anomalies, and unique numismatic characteristics that make it an incredibly rare and desirable piece, a coin that tells a story about the minting process, about human error, about the evolution of coin production, and about how something as small as a quarter can change someone's life forever. The 1978 D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility known for its high-volume production and generally consistent quality control, yet even in a facility that produces billions of coins with precision machinery, unexpected mistakes can happen, and sometimes these mistakes create coins so unique that collectors around the world are willing to pay astronomical sums to own them. The story begins with understanding how quarters were made in 1978, during a time when the United States Mint relied on a combination of mechanical presses, manually prepared dies, and evolving quality control procedures. A blank planchet, typically a copper-nickel-clad disc with a pure copper core and outer layers of nickel, would enter the coining press where two dies, an obverse, front, die featuring George Washington's profile and a reverse, back, die featuring the heraldic eagle design, would strike the planchet with enormous pressure to create the finished coin. If everything went smoothly, the result was a clean, uniform quarter with sharp details and proper alignment, but when something went wrong at any stage, the result could be an error coin, and in rare cases those errors were spectacular. The 1978 D quarter worth $12 million is not valuable because it is made of precious metal, but because of the unique set of errors and characteristics that occurred during its minting, making it one of a kind or one of a tiny handful in existence. One of the most talked about error types associated with this coin is the double die error, particularly on the obverse, where elements of George Washington's profile, lettering such as Liberty, and the date, 1978, can appear doubled due to a misalignment between the hub and the die during preparation. A strong double die can create a dramatic visual doubling that is immediately noticeable without magnification, and collectors pay top dollar for such coins because the error occurred at the die level, meaning every coin struck with that defective die would bear the same doubling, making the error rare and significant. Another key error is off-center striking, where the planchet is not properly seated in the collar of the press, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned, sometimes leaving a blank crescent on one side of the coin. While minor off-center errors are relatively common and might only be worth a few dollars, a dramatic off-center error that still shows the date and mint mark clearly can skyrocket in value, especially when combined with other errors, and the known 1978 D quarter with extreme off-center strike and visible date is considered one of the most stunning examples. There are also instances of broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the collar in place, allowing the metal to spread outward, creating a larger, thinner coin with a distorted rim, and such coins attract significant collector interest when they are well preserved. A particularly fascinating error type that has been documented on some 1978 D quarters involves the use of a transitional or wrong planchet, where the blank intended for a different denomination was accidentally fed into the quarter press. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickel planchet or a foreign coin planchet accidentally mixed into the batch, resulting in a coin with an unusual weight, thickness, or metallic composition. These are called wrong planchet errors, and they are extremely rare. The 1978 D quarter that reached the $12 million valuation reportedly exhibits a combination of such anomalies, including a double die obverse, a significant off-center strike, and evidence that it may have been struck on an incorrect planchet, giving it an unparalleled numismatic pedigree. In addition to these minting errors, die cracks and cuds can further increase a coin's rarity and value. Die cracks occur when the coining die develops fractures, causing raised lines or ridges to appear on the struck coins. In some cases, these cracks can form dramatic patterns, sometimes referred to as lightning bolt or spiderweb cracks, which make each coin unique. A cud, on the other hand, occurs when a piece of the die breaks off entirely, leaving a blank, raised blob on the coin where design details should be, often near the rim. A cud combined with a double die and off-center strike is virtually unheard of, making any coin with such features a once-in-a-lifetime find. Furthermore, the presence of a strong, full mint luster, minimal post-mint damage, and a high grade assigned by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC can exponentially increase the value. For example, a coin graded MS67 or higher with multiple dramatic errors could command 7 to 8 figure prices at major auctions because collectors value not only the error itself but also the coin's condition. The 1978 D quarter in question has been described by experts as a perfect storm of minting anomalies, with doubling visible in the date, Liberty, and I in God We Trust, a 45% off-center strike that preserves the mint mark, a thin, underweight planchet suggesting a wrong metal blank, and an obverse die crack running from Washington's head to the rim, forming a dramatic pattern. Such a combination is virtually impossible to replicate, and its uniqueness drives the extraordinary valuation. It's important to understand that not every error coin is valuable. In fact, most errors are minor and add only a small premium, but when multiple major errors occur simultaneously on a single coin, and the coin is in exceptional condition, it crosses from being a curiosity to being a numismatic legend. The 1978 D quarter has become a sort of holy grail among error collectors, with stories of one example selling privately for $12 million to a major collector who specializes in unique U.S. Mint mistakes. This transaction, while not publicly documented in traditional auction records, has been widely discussed in collector circles, publications, and at numismatic conventions, adding to the coin's mystique and desirability. The Denver Mint in 1978 was operating under heavy production schedules, striking hundreds of millions of quarters to meet the needs of commerce, and under such conditions, quality control sometimes slipped, especially when dies wore out or misalignments went unnoticed. The fact that a coin with such spectacular errors escaped into circulation or survived in pristine condition is itself remarkable, and it fuels the idea that there could still be undiscovered treasure sitting in jars, drawers, or rolls of coins in people's homes. Imagine finding a 1978 D quarter with clear doubling, dramatic off-center strike, or evidence of being struck on the wrong planchet while searching through your change. This is why error coin hunting has become such a popular hobby. It combines the thrill of treasure hunting with historical discovery. Collectors use magnifying glasses, digital scales, and calipers to examine coins closely, looking for signs of doubling, misalignment, unusual weights, or planchet irregularities. The U.S. Mint's production process in the late 1970s also adds to the intrigue because this was a period of transition, with new technologies being introduced but older mechanical systems still in place, creating opportunities for unique hybrid errors. For example, during hubbing, if the working die receives multiple misaligned impressions, a Class I or Class V double die can result, depending on the direction and nature of the misalignment, and such errors on Washington quarters are highly sought after. Additionally, if a blank planchet intended for a foreign coin of similar size was mistakenly mixed into the production line, the resulting coin would have the quarter design but an unusual weight and ring when dropped, characteristics that expert collectors test for. Authentication of such coins involves careful examination under microscopes, X-ray fluorescence to determine metallic composition, and comparison with known error varieties catalogued in reference works. The 1978 D quarter valued at $12 million has reportedly undergone extensive authentication and has been certified as genuine by top grading agencies, cementing its status as one of the rarest and most valuable error coins in U.S. history. Beyond the technical aspects, the cultural and historical significance of such a coin cannot be understated. It serves as a tangible reminder that even in a highly controlled, industrialized process, human oversight, machine wear, and unexpected variables can create something unique and beautiful, something that captures the imagination of collectors worldwide. This is why numismatics is more than just collecting old coins. It's about uncovering stories, mysteries, and accidents that turn everyday objects into extraordinary artifacts. The 1978 D quarter story also encourages people to look more carefully at their change because treasures can still be found in circulation. Last. Today we're uncovering the incredible story of the 1979 $quarter coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by reaching an astonishing value of $8 million because of its rare errors, striking anomalies, and unique production quirks that make it one of the most talked about coins in modern American coinage history. And as we explore this topic, you'll see how something as ordinary as a 1979 quarter can become an extraordinary windfall if it possesses the right combination of mistakes, minting defects, and historical oddities. So settle in as we journey through every layer of what makes this coin so valuable and how errors, both visible and hidden, have transformed it from common currency into a legendary collectible. To begin understanding the 1979 $quarter coin, we have to go back to the era of its minting, a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins annually and even the smallest slip in the production line could lead to remarkable and valuable numismatic errors, and in 1979, the Washington quarter continued to feature the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse and the heraldic eagle on the reverse, but beneath this ordinary facade lay the potential for spectacular minting. Mistakes that would only be discovered years or even decades later by sharp-eyed collectors. So when we talk about a single specimen being worth $8 million, it's not about just one simple flaw, it's about a perfect storm of multiple striking anomalies that converged in a way that is practically unheard of. One of the most prominent types of errors that can occur in a quarter is a double die error, which happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly between strikes, causing elements like the date, lettering, or design features to appear doubled or shadowed. And for the 1979 quarter, there have been reported examples where the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," or even the date itself shows a clear, bold doubling that is easily visible under magnification and sometimes even to the naked eye, and such doubling dramatically increases the desirability and value of the coin among collectors because it indicates that the error occurred during the die preparation process, making it a genuine variety rather than post-mint damage. Another spectacular category of errors involves off-center strikes, where the blank planchet is not perfectly aligned with the dies, resulting in a coin that is partially struck and shows a crescent of blank metal where the design is missing. And while minor off-center strikes are relatively common and only fetch modest premiums, the 1979 quarter with a severe off-center error combined with other unique characteristics could command astronomical prices because collectors value dramatic errors, where a large portion of the design is missing but key elements like the date remain visible, making it both recognizable and unusual. Then there's the realm of planchet errors, which occur before the coin is even struck, and in 1979 some quarters were mistakenly struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as the Susan B. Anthony dollar or the nickel, and such wrong planchet strikes can produce coins that are the wrong weight, the wrong metal composition, or even the wrong diameter. And these freak accidents are highly prized because they provide tangible evidence of mistakes within the mint's production chain. Imagine finding a 1979 quarter that was actually struck on a dollar-sized planchet, or one made of copper nickel intended for a different coin, creating a one-of-a-kind hybrid error that no normal circulation coin could ever match. In addition to these, there are rare instances of broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the restraining collar that normally holds it in place, causing the design to expand outward and create a coin that looks stretched or pancake-like. And while broad strikes alone might not fetch millions, when combined with other anomalies such as doubling, wrong planchet, or off-center striking, they form a layered error that amplifies the coin's rarity exponentially. Another subtle but significant factor lies in transitional errors, where coins are struck using dies or planchets from different years by accident, and though the most famous transitional errors involve coins from years when compositions changed, there are also cases where leftover dies or misdated hubs were used, producing a 1979 quarter with anomalies in its lettering, mint mark placement, or design details that do not match the standard issue. These subtle varieties are often overlooked by casual observers but are eagerly hunted by specialists who know that a mispunched mint mark or an anomalous hub detail can mean the difference between face value and a small fortune. Additionally, filled die errors, where grease or debris partially clogs the die, can lead to missing letters or numbers, creating unusual-looking coins where, for example, parts of Liberty or I and God We Trust appear faded or incomplete. And while such errors are sometimes dismissed as minor, on a 1979 quarter that also has other unique striking features, this kind of imperfection can add a distinctive fingerprint that makes the coin stand out among collectors. One of the most thrilling possibilities with the 1979 quarter lies in the chance discovery of multiple errors occurring simultaneously on a single specimen, something numismatists call a multiple error coin, and this is where the truly astronomical values come into play, because a coin that combines a dramatic off-center strike, a double die obverse, and a wrong planchet error, for example, would be unlike anything else, essentially making it unique, and uniqueness is the ultimate driver of high auction prices. The $8 million valuation associated with the most famous 1979 quarter is precisely because it is believed to feature a combination of extreme rarity factors, a double-struck pattern on a transitional planchet with severe misalignment and retained collar features, making it a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly. Beyond the technical minting errors, there's also the aspect of provenance and condition, as coins that are preserved in high grades, with little to no wear, graded by professional services as mint state 67 or higher, are far rarer and more valuable than their circulated counterparts, and if an error coin of this magnitude also happens to be in pristine condition, it becomes a numismatic treasure that elite collectors are willing to bid astronomical sums to acquire. Over the years, coin auctions have shown us that serious collectors and investors are always on the lookout for coins that combine rarity, beauty, and a compelling story, and a 1979 quarter with such a cocktail of errors tells a story not just of a momentary slip in the mint but of the incredible journey that coin has taken through time, surviving decades without being damaged or lost, until finally being recognized for the gem it truly is. Furthermore, the year 1979 itself holds a unique place in American numismatics because it was the first year of the Susan B. Anthony dollar coin, and the mint was adjusting production lines and equipment to accommodate the new coinage, which led to an environment ripe for transitional mistakes and planchet mix-ups. And this backdrop adds historical context that enhances the allure of any 1979 era coin, especially one that might involve a wrong planchet from the Anthony dollar series. There's also speculation that some experimental planchets may have been tested during this period, and a handful of coins struck on such experimental materials would be virtually priceless today. Many casual coin enthusiasts don't realize that coins with overlapping or multiple errors are so rare because the mint has rigorous quality control processes, and for a coin with numerous flaws to escape detection and enter circulation is almost miraculous, which is why when such coins are found, they attract intense media attention and fierce bidding wars among collectors. Imagine someone unknowingly spending a coin at face value that's actually worth millions because they didn't notice a slight off-center strike, a faint doubling, or an unusual metallic ring indicating a wrong planchet. Stories like these have happened before, with lucky finders discovering small fortunes in change jars, inherited coin collections, or estate sales. As coin collecting has grown more sophisticated, experts use high-powered microscopes, metal analyzers, and dye marker studies to authenticate and categorize these rare errors, and once a coin like the 1979 quarter with multiple dramatic mistakes is verified and slabbed by a top grading service, its value can soar overnight, making it a centerpiece in any advanced collection. It's also important to note that mint marks can play a role. For example, some 1979 quarters have shown anomalies in the D or S mint marks, with misplaced punches or repunched mint marks adding yet another layer of collectible variety, and when combined with other errors, even something as small as a doubled mint mark can elevate a coin's appeal. Overstrikes, where a coin is struck on top of another previously struck coin, are another jaw-dropping category, and while rare, there have been instances of quarters being overstruck on other denominations, creating ghostly images of two designs blended together. A 1979 quarter with an overstrike on a dollar or a foreign coin would be unlike anything else and could easily explain a multi-million-dollar valuation.